In June 2025, researchers described 34 cases in which wild orcas approached people carrying fish, mammals, birds, invertebrates, and even a piece of seaweed. The whales released these objects near boats, swimmers, or people on shore, then often waited for a response. This was not the behavior expected from an animal commonly introduced as the ocean's ultimate killer. Some of the objects were prey, yet the humans receiving them were not. That contrast supports a familiar claim. Orcas hunt almost everything, but refuse to hunt us. It is an irresistible idea, because the animal is clearly capable of killing a human. A large male can be more than 8 meters, 26 feet long, and weighs several metric tons. Orcas coordinate attacks on animals larger than themselves, separate calves from whales. Wash seals from ice, and disable sharks with extraordinary precision. A person in the water offers almost no physical defense. And still, confirmed predatory attacks on humans in the wild are conspicuously absent from the scientific record. Close encounters, bites, bumps, damaged boats, and frightening mistakes do exist. Fatal attacks have occurred in captivity. The defensible claim is therefore not that wild orcas cannot harm people, or that no wild orca ever will. It is narrower. Humans do not appear to be a normal prey category for any known orca population. Why not? The answer is less like a peace treaty, and more like a lesson in how predators learn what food is. Calling the orca a generalist predator is accurate at the level of the species. Around the world, orcas have been documented eating schooling, fish, salmon, rays, sharks, seals, sea lions, dolphins, porpoises, seabirds, and whales. But that global menu is misleading if we imagine every individual choosing freely from the entire list. In the northeastern Pacific, fish-eating resident orcas and mammal-eating bigs orcas can occupy the same coastal waters while living remarkably different lives. Residents feed heavily on salmon, especially Chinook. Bigs orcas hunt marine mammals and travel in smaller, quieter groups because seals and porpoises can hear their calls. Offshore orcas eat fish, including sharks. These are not temporary restaurant preferences. The ecotypes differ in behavior, vocal traditions, social patterns, appearance, and genetics. The separation can become surprisingly strict. A resident orca may swim through water containing potential mammal prey without switching diets, even when its preferred salmon are scarce. Meanwhile, a mammal hunter must recognize not merely that a seal contains calories, but how to approach it silently, coordinate with relatives, prevent escape, kill it safely, and share it. The same pattern appears beyond the Pacific. A 2023 analysis used fatty acids from nearly 200 killer whales and compared them with more than 900 potential prey across 5,000 kilometers and 3,100 miles of the North Atlantic. Diets differed strongly by region. Whales dominated estimates in the western North Atlantic, seals in Greenland, and fish in eastern populations around Iceland, the Faroe Islands, and Norway. This gives us the first correction. Orcas as a species hunt an astonishing range of animals. Individual orca societies do not hunt almost everything. They inherit a much smaller menu. An orca calf does not begin life with a complete catalog of edible species. It spends years beside its mother and relatives. It follows their roots, hears their calls, watches their pursuits, and participates in prey handling. The result is culture. Information acquired socially and retained by a group. Culture is sometimes treated as a decorative extra added to animal instinct. In orcas, it can organize ecology. Pods use learned call repertoires that function as acoustic family signatures. Hunting methods also pass between generations. Antarctic orcas cooperate to create waves that break floating ice beneath seals. Norwegian groups herd herring into dense balls and strike them with their tails. Some New Zealand orcas pursue rays in shallow water. These skills require the right prey, habitat, timing, partners, and practice. Researchers have modeled how socially transmitted specialization can narrow a group's ecological niche. In the short term, specialization can be efficient. A family repeatedly practicing one difficult technique becomes very good at it. The cost is rigidity. When the preferred resource declines, a culturally conservative group may not simply select a completely different prey item. That matters to the human question. To become food, a creature must pass more tests than being made of meat. It must be recognized as prey by a particular hunting culture. The hunters must possess a workable capture routine. The reward must justify the uncertainty and risk. Young animals must then observe or join the behavior often enough for it to persist. Humans apparently fail near the beginning of that chain. We are not part of the inherited prey image of known orca societies. Our outline, movement, sound, and behavior do not match the animals their families routinely teach them to pursue. This does not require an orca to understand human rights. It only requires learned categories to be conservative. Predators do not attack every object they can overpower. A lion does not treat every moving mammal identically, and a fish-eating bird does not need to test every unfamiliar animal with a fatal strike. Selection favors decisions that obtain energy without unnecessary injury or wasted effort. Orcas are especially capable of gathering information before committing. They have excellent hearing, use echolocation, coordinate socially, and can approach an object from several angles. A human swimmer may look seal-like for a moment at the surface, but an orca is not restricted to the blurred view available to a human observer on a boat. Underwater, our proportions, kick rhythm, bubbles, equipment, and acoustic return are distinctive. This is one reason the popular comparison with shark bites can be too simple. A shark and an orca possess different sensory systems, hunting traditions, and decision processes. Even among orcas, a salmon specialist and a seal specialist are not interchangeable predators. The relevant unit is not an abstract superpredator. It is a particular animal embedded in a particular society. Avoidance also does not mean disgust. There is no good evidence that human taste explains the pattern, nor is intelligence alone sufficient. Highly intelligent predators can attack humans, and intelligence can produce exploration as easily as restraint. The strongest model combines cognition with cultural specialization. Orcas can discriminate finely, and their societies give them stable rules about what to pursue. Those rules are not necessarily conscious instructions. A whale need not think, humans are forbidden. It may simply never enter the behavioral sequence that turns detection into stalking, coordinated capture, killing, and feeding. The distinction becomes essential when orcas touch people or their machines. Since 2020, a small number of Iberian orcas have repeatedly contacted sailing vessels, often pushing or damaging rudders. Some vessels have become unnavigable, and some have sunk. Headlines rapidly converted these events into attacks, revenge, or an ocean uprising. The evidence does not establish those motives. International Whaling Commission discussions describe a distinctive, socially spreading interaction focused on vessels and rudders. The behavior can be dangerous because an orca does not need predatory intent to disable a boat. Yet the animals have not followed the sequence expected if the humans aboard were prey. Reports do not show them breaking open vessels to reach people, consuming victims, or switching from a damaged rudder to swimmers. Several explanations have been proposed, including play, object manipulation, and a socially learned behavioral trend. An early revenge story suggested that an injured whale began attacking boats after a traumatic encounter. That narrative supplied a motive before the evidence supplied one. The current position is more cautious. Researchers can describe which whales participate, what boat features attract contact, and how the behavior spreads, while its original trigger remains uncertain. This is not semantic politeness. Predation, defense, play, curiosity, and socially reinforced object interaction make different predictions. If people are prey, whales should orient toward human bodies and attempt capture. If rudders are the focus, interactions should change when vessel type, speed, or steering structures change. Separating these propositions is how a frightening event becomes a scientific question. The 34 provisioning cases add another form of contact. Wild orcas offered items to people in 4 oceans, including 11 cases involving humans in the water. In nearly every case, the whale waited to see what the person did. The researchers interpreted this as exploratory, potentially pro-social behavior, while acknowledging that intentions cannot be read directly from an observation. The offers do not prove that orcas love humans. They show something more defensible and, scientifically, more useful. At least some wild orcas can place humans inside a social experiment rather than a feeding sequence. Once the pattern is noticed, explanations multiply. One says humans are too bony or contain too little fat. Another says orcas recognize our intelligence. A third proposes an ancient alliance, as if every pod carries a species-wide memory of cooperation with fishermen. Each idea starts with something plausible, then reaches farther than the evidence allows. Energy does matter to predators. Marine mammals carry thick blubber, and a large whale carcass can feed several orcas. But energy cannot explain the whole pattern. Orcas also take lean fish, seabirds, rays, and smaller animals. Human body composition may make us a poor replacement for a seal, but a low reward is not the same as universal rejection. More importantly, many potential prey choices are never reduced to a nutritional calculation because the animal is not recognized as prey in the first place. Taste is even harder to test. A predator must usually bite before taste can guide a decision, yet the remarkable feature of wild orca encounters is the scarcity of bites. Claiming that humans taste bad uses an outcome to invent a sensory cause. There is no controlled evidence that a shared aversion to human flesh spans ecotypes that otherwise disagree about food. Intelligence creates a different temptation. Orcas have large, complex brains, long childhoods, durable family bonds, vocal traditions, and sophisticated cooperation. These qualities make fine discrimination and social learning plausible. They do not demonstrate moral recognition. A whale can identify a human as unusual without reasoning that the human possesses a mind like its own. Treating non-predation as respect may flatter us more than it explains the whale. Historical cooperation is real in some places. People have learned to follow orcas toward prey, and particular whale communities may have tolerated or benefited from human activity. Fisheries can also create new feeding opportunities when orcas remove fish from lines. But local relationships cannot explain populations separated by oceans and cultural traditions. There is no evidence of one global orca culture transmitting a commandment about humans. The best explanation is therefore layered rather than dramatic. Humans are unfamiliar as prey, often encountered in artificial contexts, energetically uncertain, and absent from established hunting lessons. Orcas possess the cognition to inspect that novelty without automatically attacking it. Culture then stabilizes the result. None of these factors proves mercy. Together they predict rarity. Any explanation must confront the clearest counterexample. Orcas have killed humans in captivity. The best-known case occurred in 2010, when Tilikum pulled trainer Dawn Brancho into the pool at SeaWorld Orlando and killed her. A United States federal appeals court later upheld workplace safety findings, requiring physical barriers or equivalent protection during performances involving close contact. This history prevents romantic conclusions. Orcas are powerful, autonomous animals, and familiarity does not remove that power. It also reveals why context matters. A captive orca lives in an environment radically different from an oceanic home range in a self-directed family life. Humans control access, training, social companions, space, and stimulation. An aggressive or fatal interaction in that setting cannot be treated as evidence of normal wild predation, nor should captivity become a convenient explanation for every incident. Individual cases have different immediate circumstances, and scientists cannot reconstruct an animal's private intention after the fact. What the comparison establishes is that the phrase "orcas do not kill humans" is false. The narrower observation remains. Wild populations have not incorporated humans as routine prey. The difference also exposes a flaw in the word refuse. Refusal suggests an available, recognized action that the whale consciously rejects. We do not know that an orca surveys a swimmer and deliberates over mercy. In many encounters, hunting may never become the relevant category at all. A culturally learned menu is stable, not magical. Orca behavior can innovate and spread. Some fish-eating southern residents have repeatedly harassed and killed porpoises without eating them. The behavior has persisted across decades in social groups, showing that capture and killing do not always equal feeding. It also shows that a population can develop a striking interaction with another species while its diet remains unchanged. That case weakens two easy arguments at once. First, an orca attacking something does not prove hunger. Second, a non-food category is not a promise of harmlessness. Play, practice, displacement, social excitement, or other motivations can still produce lethal force. Could a wild orca one day kill a person? Certainly. Rare events become possible whenever people enter the habitat of a multi-ton predator. Could a population learn to hunt humans? Biology does not provide an absolute barrier, but possibility is not evidence that such a tradition exists. For a new feeding behavior to become established, it would probably need repeated opportunity, reinforcement, successful handling, and social transmission. Human encounters are comparatively unusual. Humans often arrive with noisy vessels, and the potential prey behaves unlike the animals a pod already knows how to hunt. The absence of routine predation is therefore produced by several filters working together: inherited diet, precise recognition, learned technique, uncertain reward, and limited cultural reinforcement. No single filter needs to be perfect. Together they make humans an unlikely menu addition. The original claim contains one accurate observation and one unsupported conclusion. The observation is extraordinary. Despite their strength, global range, and access to human swimmers, wild orcas almost never direct predatory behavior toward us. The unsupported conclusion is that they have collectively decided to spare humanity. The evidence supports a less mystical answer. Orcas do not enter the ocean as universal hunters. They enter families. Those families teach them where to travel, how to communicate, which prey deserves attention, and how a successful hunt is performed. Across the species, those traditions add up to one of the broadest predator menus on Earth. Within a single society, they can produce remarkable restraint. So the question is not why an indiscriminate killer makes one moral exception. Orcas are not indiscriminate killers in the first place. They are cultural specialists with the sensory ability to tell one category from another. That is why a whale may kill a seal, ignore a swimmer, dismantle a rudder, harass a porpoise without eating it, or carry a fish toward a boat and wait. To us, these acts can look like contradictions. To the orca, they may belong to entirely different learned situations. Wild orcas do not offer us a guarantee of safety, and they do not need to recognize us as equals. Their behavior reveals something more precise. At the top of the marine food web, power does not erase selectivity. The ocean's most capable predator is dangerous not because it attacks everything, but because it knows exactly what it is doing, and humans, so far, are almost never part of the hunt.